Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Character Development. I'm Tommy, and today's character is one of the many unforgettable characters from one of the world's most renowned RPGs, Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII is an RPG released by Square in 1997, and is commonly regarded as the greatest game in the series. And not just because of the game itself, but because of the many sequels, and even a movie as well. The character we are about to dive into has a very difficult past, full of hardship and trials, family and betrayal. That's right, the character we are covering this week is none other than the leader of Avalanche, the one and only Barret Wallace. Barret is the leader of an eco-terrorist group known as Avalanche, which first appeared in the 1997 game, Final Fantasy VII, with the sole purpose being to prevent the Shinra Electric Power Company from using Mako, the life source of the planet, as energy. At first glance, he may seem savage and reckless, but when you take a closer look at his motives, you'll see that he deeply cares for his daughter, Marlene. After Avalanche falls apart, he gets caught up in saving the world from Sephiroth, a twisted menace filled with Genova cells. He wields a gun attached to his arm, and fights alongside Cloud, a former member of Shinra, and Tifa, another member of Avalanche. He gets caught up in the struggle to stop Sephiroth's maniacal schemes, not only because of his strong devotion to his friends, but to the planet as well. Barret is 35 years old in Final Fantasy VII, making him 37 in the 2005 movie Advent Children, and 38 in Dirge of Cerberus. This makes him the oldest out of all the party members in Final Fantasy VII, except for Vincent, who slept in a coffin somehow for 30 years. Barret uses his gun arm in combat and can purchase different attachments for it that act as separate weapons, such as the drill arm or the rocket punch. While Barret does not necessarily have an elemental affinity, his card from the Japanese exclusive Final Fantasy trading card game tells us that his element is Earth, which is the closest thing to evidence that we can get. His height is 6'4", or 197 centimeters. His hometown is that of Coral Village, but after an incident that occurred there, he moved to Midgar, where he formed none other than the eco-terrorist group Avalanche. Barret first meets Cloud, the main protagonist of the game, when he hires him as a mercenary for Avalanche. Barret's attitude toward Cloud is shown to be very rough and brash at first, but as time goes on, the two develop a humorous friendship with one another, most commonly seen whenever Barret calls Cloud Spiky, in reference to his spiky hair. Barret has been known to save Cloud's life once or twice, and is probably one of Cloud's biggest influences on why he should even bother saving the planet. On a humorous note, once the party reaches the Gold Saucer, Cloud can have a date with one of the game's 3 female characters, Tifa, Aeris, or Yuffie. If certain requirements are met before this point, Cloud can actually have a hilarious date with Barret. This is a very hard feat to accomplish, as you have to answer pretty much all of the questions up to this point exactly correct. So if you've played Final Fantasy once or twice and are up for a challenge, then the Barret date is the thing for you. Cait Sith is a walking, talking, fortune-telling toy cat controlled by Reeve Tuesti, head of Shinra Urban Development. He surprisingly joins the party a little ways into the game when he predicts a little bit of Cloud's future and acts as a spy for Shinra. He stays with the party until Cloud, Barret, and the others obtain the Keystone so that they can enter the Temple of the Ancients, which he promptly steals and gives to Shinra. He also goes so far as to kidnap Barret's daughter, Marlene, and hold her hostage, forcing Cloud's team to keep Cait Sith in the party. Although he may seem like a villain, his motives are honest, and Reeve is only trying to do what is best for the people of Midgar. Later on, near the end of the game, Cait Sith confronts Barret on the party's ship, the Highwind, and asks him about the Sector 1 reactor destruction that Barret led during the beginning of the game. Barret killed hundreds of people near the reactor, but as he saw it, they were small casualties for the greater good. Cait Sith tells him that what may seem like small casualties to some are everything to others. Other than this slight confrontation, Cait Sith and Barret seem to be on okay terms, considering Cait Sith kidnapped his daughter and used her as a hostage. Marlene, the adopted daughter of Barret and one of the most pivotal characters in both Final Fantasy VII and the movie Advent Children. Marlene was the biological daughter of Dyne and Eleanor, a happy couple who lived in Coral Village. Shinra arrived in the small mining town and offered the citizens a proposal that they build a Mako reactor near the town so as to suit the townspeople's electrical needs, as well as a new energy source instead of coal. Dyne, Marlene's father, opposed the ideas, but he was convinced by none other than his best friend Barret. A few days later, on their way back to the village, Barret and Dyne see Coral set aflame by the Shinra troops, which kills almost everyone in town. As Barret and Dyne rush back to the town, Scarlet, a Shinra executive, notices them and begins firing. Dyne falls off a cliff, yet Barret manages to grab him with his right arm. The Shinra soldiers continue to fire, and Barret is shot in his right arm. Barret is forced to let go of his best friend and watch him plunge into the abyss. Stricken with grief, Barret makes his way back to the encampment and discovers that his wife, Myrna, was killed in the fire, along with Dyne's wife, Eleanor. Barret takes in Dyne's daughter, Marlene, as his own and swears to destroy Shinra, no matter the cost. He attaches a gun to his right arm to replace the arm he lost, and starts a secret eco-terrorist anti-Shinra group known as Avalanche. In a strange change of events midway through the game, Cloud and Barret discover that Dyne is actually still alive and had the same gun arm operation that Barret had, only on his left arm. Barret finds Dyne and confronts him, but Dyne is driven by rage. He wants nothing more than to destroy the world and everything in it, including himself. He proceeds to have a one-on-one duel with Barret, and Barret wins. Dyne tells Barret that he isn't fit to hold Marlene anymore, not after all of the terrible things he has done. He then kills himself over his own guilt. Despite this horrible, tragic tale, Marlene and Barret share one of the best relationships in Final Fantasy VII. Not only does Barret fight to end Shinra, but to protect his daughter as well. Avalanche, the group that started it all. While Barret is indeed the founding member of Avalanche, there are 4 other specific members of the group: Tifa, Biggs, Wedge, and Jessie, with Barret and Tifa being the fighters, and Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge being the technological members of the group. During the beginning segment of the game, they sacrifice their lives for Avalanche, and are killed by none other than Shinra. Both Biggs and Jessie die thinking they deserve punishment for their crimes in partaking of the destruction of Sector 1, while Wedge admits he wasn't very much help to the group. Even though Barret was seen being pretty harsh to these 3, he cared about them quite a lot, as shown once the party arrives at Cosmo Canyon, and Barret reminisces about how he promised them he would take them there one day. Barret shares quite a few relationships with quite a few characters from Final Fantasy VII, but now it's time to take a look at some battle strategy. Barret is one of the 3 long-range party members that can join your party, next to Vincent and Yuffie, but Barret is arguably the strongest of the 3. Because he can attack from a distance, it's typically a good idea to put him in the back row and leave the melee hitters in front. His limit breaks are considered some of the best in the entire game, and his ultimate limit break, Catastrophe, hits enemies at 1.25 times normal damage 10 consecutive times. Barret's ultimate weapon, the Missing Score, can be obtained towards the end of Disc 2 during the raid on Midgard. Barret must be in the party for the item to be on the staircase, making this somewhat of a pain to get at times. It has an attack power of 98 and is damage proportional to the amount of AP on all of the materia allocated to the weapon, making this an incredibly powerful weapon. If done correctly, the Missing Score can easily hit for 9,999 damage with each attack. There you go! Barret is a fabulous character to have in Final Fantasy VII, and not just because of his incredible battling potential. The relationships that he shares with all of the characters make him a one-of-a-kind character to have, even if he isn't your party just for the date scene. Seriously, why is that a thing? That being said, I'm Tommy, and thank you for watching this episode of Character Development. I'm Tommy, and today's character is one of the many unforgettable characters from the world's most...
Oh, dude, okay.
Try
it again.
So close!
That was really good. That was really good. Try it again.
The character we are about to dive into has a past full of hardship and...
Now, what we might do is somewhere between that, I'm gonna fade game video over you to show what you're talking about.
No!
So,
who named their kid Barret Wallace?
they can't really help the last name.
Okay. No, it's his middle name. He doesn't have a last name.
Oh, okay.
Barret, this makes him the oldest out of all the party members in Party Fantasy VII. Barret shares quite a few relationships with quite a few characters from Battle Strategy. Seriously, why is that a thing?
Try that one more time.
Seriously, why is that a thing?
Try that one more time.
Seriously, why is that a thing?